Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee was founded in 2014 by Ed and Courtney Lemmix alongside their son, Brett. The delicious DeLuna blends are a product of Ed's discerning palate for the finest coffee beans on the planet, and Brett's business acumen has them on the national radar for quality. Savor the simplicity of Graffiti Bridge. 100% Colombian beans roasted to a city roast for optimal flavor. Ed and Brett are both FSU alums and are extending a special offer to our listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit thelunacoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Azan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
You left me on the day after Christmas.
Wake up! What is going on? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. You're back at the office. Oh, forgot to get a gift for that person. Go to DeLunaCoffee.com. Go to the top. Go to shop. Go to gifts. Get a gift card, electronically delivered. Pass along. You'll be totally fine. It's all good. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Thumbs up if you're listening to us on YouTube. 5-star rating, review, all that good stuff. Good stuff also includes Corey Clark being on the program per usual. Corey Clark, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Hey, thanks for asking, Aslan. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, man. Always just want to make sure you're in the right good mind space, and then we'll explore the space. How was your Christmas? Mary?
Low key, hung out with my my mom. Got to hang out with her and my sister and her husband. So my brother-in-law, I guess, is what he is to me. British. I'm not holding that against him. Just clear, just defining who he is. And didn't get to see Brady, but for like 30 minutes, I went over there and shot baskets in the driveway with him because he's still, he's not out of quarantine until the 28th officially. And he beat me at Around the World. You know that game, I assume?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time that's ever happened. So that was, I guess that's a part of like your kids growing up as they start to beat you at things that you used to dominate them at. But he legitimately beat me. Like, it wasn't like I was like, I'll let the 13-year-old have his moment. Like, no, I was trying to win. And he beat me. I beat him the first game, and then he pretty much dominated me the second game.
Damn, they grew up quick.
And I've had to come to grips with he's a better shooter than I am, which I guess it's good. That's what you want, right?
Yeah,
you want your kids to outdo you, but not at 13.
Well, will he have his name entered into the NBA draft? We'll see.
We'll see. Probably at some point, yeah.
All right. So, I mean, we're just doing this. I kind of unilaterally, I'm like, we're going to do a show. Just because, Rosillo dropped the podcast on Friday. I mean, he made his guys get into the studio and record on a Friday.
Right.
Christmas Eve.
We got to follow Rosillo's lead.
So, one of the third most popular podcasts in the country, might as well. Really not a lot has happened here at Florida State. A lot of good retrospective stuff going on. Looks like we dropped our first sort of thing, which I want to do kind of the 5 wildest moments of the season, but I want to touch base with Ira first because it's not going to be all that positive. And I was like, maybe you can have Tom or Corey chase it with something, more uplifting. But I think Tom's already grabbed the bull by the horns. Looks like we have the 5 FSU football players who stepped up in a big way in 2021. Ira and Tom worked on that. But on the field, on the grass, leave it all on the grass, as our guy Herm Edwards once said. Big-time commitment, or at least in stature. Johnny Wilson out of Arizona State. Speaking of Herm, didn't even mean it to come that way. I don't really think – actually, maybe I did subconsciously.
What a great transition. What a great transition that was, Aslan.
Trying, man. We're going to go off we're going to climb into the new year from a good starting point. But anyhow, Johnny Wilson, 6'7", over 230 pounds. At one point, I think was close to being a Rivals 100 guy. So he's only, I think, 2 years removed from high school. But big-time pass catcher. Not sure if receiver, tight end, maybe an inline receiver. But, hey, you got to replenish that tight end room. Carter Boatwright left, so and Jordan Wilson's going to be gone. So enter Johnny Wilson. What your thoughts, Corey?
Yeah, no, I think he's a straight-up receiver, man. I mean, maybe they put him inside some on blocking or just to help out. I know he was a very good run blocker in the run game for Arizona State. And he played high school ball with Micah Pittman.
Yes.
Like they were on the same high school team. I hope they won a lot of games. They had two four-star wide receivers on that team. But, yeah, man, I mean, look, we knew going in what their holes were. And wouldn't you say, like, there's no way you're going to go out and get like a Sammy Watkins in the transfer portal. Or
a Jameson Williams.
Yeah, well, if you're Alabama and it's Ohio State, and I don't know that they knew who he was then. I'm talking about somebody that's established, like if Jameson Williams decided to transfer after Alabama out of this year. That doesn't happen. You go get guys that have potential. There aren't many. I don't know what Jameson Williams' stats were at Ohio State. I wouldn't have assumed they were huge just because he was
the number 4 guy behind these 3 first-round, Olave and
no, right. But
these dudes.
He was like a Jermaine Johnson situation, right? Like very good player, but couldn't get on the field. But he wasn't proven. Just like Jermaine Johnson wasn't really proven until he got here and got to play every snap, and then was one of the best defensive players in America. That guy at Alabama is one of the best receivers in America. The point being, you're not going to go get a lot of Sammy Watkins after his freshman year at Clemson. Guys that has already established All-Americans. They've already put up 1,200, 1,400 yards in a Power 5 school. That doesn't happen a lot because those guys are probably pretty happy, right? Mm-hmm. Those dudes are usually pretty happy where they are. They don't need to leave. They like where they are. So you get guys like this, guys that have serious potential and are pretty young. I mean, they're only both of them are 2 years removed from high school, and both have shown, I think, maybe Pittman's 3, but I think it's 2. They've both shown flashes to know that they can play, that they're not just scrubs that were overranked out of high school. They played, and so that to me is really encouraging. You've got legitimate Power 5 wide receivers on your hands. I don't know that you could say that about any of the guys on Florida State's roster. Maybe Pokey, that you would say this guy is a bona fide Power 5 receiver. Now you got, in my opinion, you got 2 of them. That's what you needed to do. Maybe there's another one out there, but you got 2 4-star kids who have played in big games and big moments, and they're young, and they've still managed to get on the field and make some plays, and they've got a lot of room to grow. So that the potential is there. I mean, a 6'7", 240 kid that can move, and then you get the kid from Oregon that's their punt returner. So he obviously has some athletic ability. That's been desperately needed in that wide receiver room, and you feel those guys might be your 2 best guys. They probably will be your 2 best guys, right?
Well, I was going to ask you. So why? So is it the devil? No offense. I mean, not calling you the devil. Love you, Pokey. But the fact that you've seen what you've seen.
It's the Sun Devil. It's the Sun Devil.
Hey-o.
You don't know.
Hey-o.
Let's say, guys, this is for free. Can you believe it? Unbelievable.
I want to see a column with that as sort of the crux of it all.
Right.
But, Micah Pittman's been around since 19. He's got 38 catches. Wilson's been around 2 seasons at Arizona State. Had hamstring injury, tried to come back, aggravated. He's got 12 catches. How much of this is like hope or potential over we've seen there's this sort of epiphany we want as fans. We're like, all right, yeah, year after year, these kids will grow, and maybe Pokey's got that senior year breakout in him, or Keyshawn's got that senior year breakout season in him, like a DeMarcus Walker-esque season. Is that just a taller bridge, a longer bridge to sort of have to cross than these guys where you look at a Johnny Wilson, you see 6'7", 230, you're like, all right, that'll hunt. And then Micah Pittman obviously being able to return punts quite well. But because, I mean, they're along the lines of a Jameson Williams. I mean, Jameson Williams caught 15 passes in 2 years at Ohio State, didn't even get 300 total yards. And then now he's setting the world on fire. 68.
Yeah, now he's one of the best receivers in the country, and he's going to be a first-round pick. Like that, obviously that's the hope. You can't expect that to happen. But there are guys that are just, for whatever reason, their first 1 or 2 years that doesn't work out for them. Now, I feel like you could say the same thing about these Florida State kids. Like, somebody listen to this and be like, well, Portier might be that guy, or Williamson might be that guy. Sure, maybe. But you've just made the room better, substantially better. These 2 guys were ranked higher coming out of high school than anybody on the Florida State roster at wide receiver. And they're gonna add nothing else. They're going to make the competition for starting spots better. But I think you've got 2 pretty elite skill sets. You can't coach 6'7", so you would hope. I know it hasn't materialized yet, but you hope that becomes a factor in the red zone and on third down. And then you've got a guy with some real,
size, girth. I mean, at minimum, Pittman's going to upgrade your special teams play.
Right.
At minimum.
But I think he's more than that. I think he's a legitimate guy. I think he's I honestly think.
I mean, he's caught 38 passes in 3 seasons, though, Corey. I mean, so again,
he didn't play every game, right? And I just think when you watch him, he doesn't have a ton of highlights on the internet, but when you watch him, you see some shiftiness there. And he also didn't play the second half of this season, right?
Right, played 5 games in 2021.
Yeah. So it's not like it's been 3 full years of just 38 catches. But yeah, even that production rivals anything that Florida State's guys have done. It's not like I think they're going to be, again, Jamison Williams, but I think they immediately make the wide receiver room better.
Okay.
I think both of them probably have the potential to start. I would be surprised if both of them didn't start. Just because, yeah, man, I haven't seen anything from the wide receiver. And yeah, maybe it is just the devil you don't know, the sun devil you don't know. But I haven't seen anything from any receivers on this roster that you're like, yep, that guy is a difference maker, a game breaker. 6'7" might be that guy. He had 18 catches in his career there. We only played 8 games. So 8 games is a lot. Is not nearly a strong enough sample size to judge what this guy could be. He might end up being a 50-catch guy, and he might end up being an 8 or 10 touchdown guy because that size, like you said, that size hunts. Like that's big. That's a big deal. You have guys that look like real receivers now. When you throw up a lob pass 30 yards downfield, you're not throwing it to a 5'8" guy anymore. That helps. So hopefully, but more to your overall point when you ask this question, yes, it's more about hope and potential. Neither one of these guys are proven to be incredible football players, but there is potential there that they could be, and that should be exciting. Just like the guy from Wisconsin, that should be exciting because I think it's not like you've gotten worse by adding these 3 transfers. I think your offense is already better just from what you've added in these 3 guys, even though you did lose Corbin. I think getting another a big offensive lineman that has played at a big-time school, and then 2 receivers that have played in the Power 5 and were 4-star recruits, I just think that makes you better. But, yeah, maybe not Jamison Williams better. Maybe not the guy that went to Jackson State better, but still better.
Yeah. I agree to a certain degree of that. The underlying premise that you have gotten better in your receiver room by just simply adding these guys because it gives you options because everything you else have right now is either young and unproven or proven and bluntly inadequate. So, and what's it say? Change of scenery doesn't spark a kid like Johnny Wilson. That's really intriguing. 6'7", 230. I haven't looked enough at his film. I did see Tom Lang retweeted a clip of him just absolutely bullying a kid out wide on a run block. It was Southern Utah. Maybe I get too excited about that, but I think he graded out either second or maybe in first highest running blocking receiver in the nation this past year. So really, I mean, he's in the 90s in run blocking. 90s.
Okay,
so blue. That's
something. That'll play.
The receipt, but again, we need you to get downfield. We need you to make a catch. Who's to say he can't do that? We certainly hope so. But yeah, I'm of the hope thing. And this isn't going to cost you anything. It's not as though you took these 2 guys and if, some Rivals 150 guy who just gets in a tiff with his receivers coach over spring football and wants to bail, you're going to be like, hey, sorry, we don't have room for you. Because they do have plenty of room and they're not done. So we're not grading anything right now. We're encouraged.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think, and they're not keeping you from signing a defensive end you desperately need or another offensive lineman that you desperately need. You had to get at least a couple of guys, and you still have one spot for maybe 2 spots maybe depending on the signing class in February, the late signing class, or another transfer that's out there. But look, when you look at the and I know recruiting things only matter to an extent because now they've been in college for a couple of years. But, there aren't a ton of former 4-star wide receivers out there. It's not like there's an aisle full of them. There's a few, and you got 2 of them. So that ain't bad. Now, can you hold out and maybe get a guy that played at a Southern Utah but had 1,600 yards receiving? Somebody like that? Yeah, sure. Or you could get another big-time guy that, puts his name in the portal the next couple weeks, I guess. It's going to be interesting. Wouldn't you think, like, most of the names in the portal are in the portal?
Well,
at this point,
there's a I mean, some of these bowl games are kind of important, or maybe
I
they're not.
guess, yeah. There's those bowl, the guys that will wait till after the bowl. Like half of Wyoming's team, I think announced they were transferring in the during the post game celebration,
including their quarterback. Yeah,
and their top wide receiver were like tweeting out. I mean, it came out immediately after the game that they were gone. And also, I meant to I thought Emory Jones had announced he was transferring.
Yeah, so did Jacob Copeland, and they still laced them
played?
Up for the Gator Nation, brother, for the Gator Nation.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
all right.
that's
good for them.
Yeah.
So was the Richardson kid hurt?
I don't know. I wasn't keeping
because he didn't play at all in that game.
Not that I watched. Yeah.
Huh,
what do you think about
right.
the question posed to us by managing editor Irish O'Fell? So, what are we talking about right now? If we're a Florida State podcast, which we are, had Florida State defeated Florida at the end of November, but then gone and looked that poorly against UCF. I'm of the opinion when you're the head football coach of Florida State, at this junction, you've only had 8 wins and 21 games? Like you take every win out there, especially against a rival.
Oh, yeah,
but,
you definitely
but that would
would.
This would not be a fun podcast right now had they just looked absolutely impotent against UCF.
I don't know if it would have mattered much.
Not in your world. You know, you're so anti-bowl core. You need to have your own offshoot podcast.
I mean, are you watching these games? Like all the people that don't play and they just straight up cancel them now? Like, we can't come. We're not playing. They just don't.
Memphis goes to Hawaii. They're in Hawaii, and they're like, never mind. We're not doing this one.
Never mind. We're not playing. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Is that cool? Is that cool that we're not playing? I know y'all flew all the way out here and have been out here for a few days, but we just don't want to play. But yeah, so my point being, like, if they had beaten Florida, number one, I don't know that they would have played Central Florida because I think that matchup would have been like maybe FSU versus an SEC school. I'm not sure. But yeah, I still think you take a season where you beat your rival and lose to little brother, then lose to your rival. You want to take a win over Florida anyway. Like, Florida fans still appreciate that win over Florida State, I would think. I think they still appreciate that they have a streak going. And Florida State would have stopped a streak. It would have gotten to a bowl. And my thought was, I think they would have played harder because they're actually playing for a coaching staff that will be there the next day. I think they would have played harder in that game. I don't know how it would have come out. But, yeah, you would have been playing without Corbin, without Jermaine Johnson, without Keir Thomas, without, I'm sure, a couple of other guys, would have not played in that game.
I don't know. Do you think Keir and Jay Sean would have shut it down? I mean,
yes.
They could still you run for 150 yards in a bowl game. That's not bad. You get 2 sacks and a forced fumble.
Maybe.
That's not bad.
I think Keir definitely probably would. Jermaine, certainly.
Yes.
Maybe
Jermaine
Keir,
would not, yes.
You're right. Corbin, the way it was just odd. I think Corbin's a really good player, and he was really good this season. But the way he ran there at the end of the season, it didn't look like he was himself. So I don't know. I'm not saying he was running to protect himself to not get hurt, but he didn't run with the violence I thought that he had run with earlier in the season. And so maybe that's even a harder sell to do in the Gasparilla Bowl. Hey, but congrats to UCF. That was a good win for the program, I guess.
The clutch shot, the biggest hit. It's time for the Zaxby's indescribably good
Player of the week.
Last Monday of the year, so let's flip the Zaxby's indescribably good play of the week into play of the year, Corey Clark. I'm going to jump ahead of you. I want to be right. Rarely am. 4th and 14. 4th and flipping 14. Without that play, without that win, this entire season is looked through a completely different lens. We are in a completely different mind space, headspace. But an absolutely opportunistic play and strike. Still surprised that Miami didn't bring any pressure. Thank you, Manny. Enjoy Penn State or wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Really good, confident throw by Jordan Travis. Good catch by Andrew Parchment, who had an up and down, to maybe say it politely, one season in Tallahassee. But to take a shot over the middle for all intents and purposes, hang on to the ball. And, hey, man, that might have been one of those sort of quasi-blessing in disguise plays like Jalen not tackling Trey Mason in the national championship game because clock management-wise, it set you up for complete success. So the 4th and 14 connection, they made T-shirts about it, folks. You can buy it on the internet. That's my Zaxby's indescribably good play of the year. Corey, yours?
Yeah, there's a lot to choose from. I just feel like we talked about like doing the Toa Feely for the Clemson game, but if we're going to do a play from the Clemson game, which I don't know that we should because they lost, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to just go with the Jermaine Johnson touchdown.
Oh, okay.
Just because it was because I think he needs to be honored because of how good he was all season.
Fair.
And this is truly an honor for him to be Zaxby's indescribably player of the year. But it was either going to be that one or the tackle he made on the third down against Miami before the 4th and 14. But I'm just going to go with this one because he got the sack, the fumble cause, the fumble recovery, and the touchdown all in 2 seconds. And it was just a great play by a great player. So I'm going to choose that one as my indescribably good player of the year, mainly because Jermaine Johnson deserves it. He deserves all the Zaxby's he wants to eat for the rest of his life.
Before we broke for Christmas last week, there were reports out there about Marcus Woodson possibly being courted by other programs. He's still with Florida State. Ira's sense is that they'll step up and do what they need to do to keep him around. Right now they're going to run it back again. I don't think there's been a lot of teeth gnashing about shake up the. Well, I really should say running it back. They have a new offensive coordinator, that new linebackers coach. But they're kind of moving some seats around. So not like an infusion of maybe new concepts, but I'm cool with it. I'm fine with it. Like, what will surprise you more at this point, Corey? Like, do we think we know, in terms of guys that are on the 2 deep, who's going to be here next year that's currently on the roster? Would you be more surprised if somebody in the 2 deep that you project in your mind right now leaves, or if there's another staff change for Florida State? Between now and, let's say, I don't know, the conventional signing period, February.
I guess I would say probably. Ooh, that's 50-50, man. That's a great question when I can't answer it. Well done. I think there's a chance for both, a solid chance for both, a 50% chance for both. Although I would just think, like, if you're at Florida State now, what are you waiting on if you're going to transfer? It's not like you got a bowl to prepare for.
Right.
So what I would think anybody that was going to hit the portal would have already done so, but I've been wrong plenty of times before. I just don't know what. Well, like all the exit interviews happened a month ago. So what would have changed in your outlook in the last 3 weeks that would make you want to go somewhere else?
I just wonder because there is that sort of, Fabian coming back, and like I hope he's coming back. Like, do we know if he's coming back? Is he coming back? I would assume he's coming back because that's the only player I could think of. Like, it's on the 2 deep that would leave. And not for I don't know if I said the portal, but just leave, period. He would go to the NFL draft.
Oh, yeah, no. I thought you just meant through the portal. Yeah, no, I guess I'd be more surprised that if a coach left.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's to answer your question.
And then last sort of topic we'll kick around here. I don't know how many more shows we're going to do this week. Again, we'll do it as needed. We're not trying to be lazy, but we also don't want to waste your time and just talk in circles for 37 minutes. Although some of you like that, and for that we like you. So, watching all these NFL games, watching some of these bowl games, with the way things are going to have to go with the offensive coordinator position being vacated by Kenny, now being filled by Alex Atkins, the fact that he is an offensive line coach by trade, what's going to happen with the play calling duties. Our own dude down in Naples, Mark, when he posts on the Renegade Express, mentioned it's kind of what's going to happen here. Obviously, we like the fact that, Mike is totally hands-on, can focus on every aspect of the team during the game. He doesn't have to worry about calling plays. This would kind of take that away from it. Is that the norm, though? Is it going to be asking a lot of Mike Norvell to call plays, if he indeed does? I kind of like the idea of him calling plays. I think it's almost him asserting his control over this program, sort of taking his own destiny into his own hands. I don't think it's some sort of reckless, bold calculation that he's making here. Just to me, it kind of makes sense, man. Your offense is not nearly as productive as you hoped it would be. You're feeling good about your offensive line. Alex Atkins deserves it. Ira, shout out, armchair producer, was saying, heck, maybe that's something that you have to extend so he doesn't get poached by somebody else. Give him that added title, probably a little bit of a kickback salary-wise. I know it's 2021, everything's changing. It's almost 2022. Is it, if you want to be one of these elite programs, is your head coach not supposed to call plays on offense or defense? I think I'm totally fine if that's how they go with it. Would you, what on your antenna how would it react if he indeed is the play caller?
No, I would be fine with it, but I guess my worry, my concern is, he had a relationship with Dillingham and he trusted Dillingham enough to make him an offensive coordinator at 2 different places and give him play calling duties. Is he going to do that same thing with Tokars or Atkins? And by the way, Tokars, who Ira pointed out because I'm an idiot, wasn't a grad assistant. He was a quality control analyst, and he had been an on-field coach before.
Senior analyst.
Yeah,
senior
he was
analyst.
not. I kept calling him a grad assistant, which was incorrect. So I apologize for that. That's just me saying, hey, if they're not an on-field coach, don't matter what you call them. You're not an on-field coach. You're a grad assistant. And Corey Clark's addled brain. But does he trust somebody? Can he get? Because when you get through the course of a game, man, and you're the head coach and you're calling plays, you still have to have people to suggest things to you that will step up and say, no, coach, that's not a good idea. Or this is open. You have to call this. Does he have that relationship with Tokars or Atkins where he takes that input and really values it and says, you know what, you're right. You're right. That's a great call, or I believe you. I'm going to go that hunch. And are they good in return? Are they going to set him up for success? Those are just the things you wonder about.
Well, Kenny, I don't know how many years they were together, but I'm looking at some of this stuff here as I'm researching on the fly because I don't think he called plays all the time, and he didn't. 2018, Dillingham did not call plays for Memphis. So.
Oh, well, right. But in 2019 he did? Or no, he didn't because he was
gone.
at Auburn.
He was at Auburn. Yeah.
Okay, so then, but even still, you gotta imagine that because they had worked together for so long that there was a lot of input and there was a lot of back and forth, and there was a lot of maybe he didn't call like this is what we're doing on 2nd and 8, but he's like on this drive we need to be doing this. Coach, I've noticed from the box this is what they're doing on 1st down, so let's think about calling this play. I'm not saying Tokars and Atkins can't view the field that way. I'm just saying you don't really know. I don't know that he's worked with those guys in that capacity before where they can give input from play to play and from series to series and from, half to half, game to game, all that. So that would be if he trusts them implicitly because you got to have guys upstairs, man, that tell you what's going on. You just have to. Yeah. And so if he has somebody up there that's doing that, then yeah, I mean, again, it's not like, play calling is this just, incredible science and only a handful of people can do it. I mean, you have the same amount of play. He's going to have the same amount of plays. They're going to be called the same things. If they run them well in practice, they're probably going to use them in a game. And if they run them well in a game, they're going to keep using them in a game. That's how offenses work. But it is nice to have a guy that you can count on to give you a decided schematic advantage during the week and in the moment. And will these guys be that? That's the one. It's not an issue, but it's something Norvell has to find out because, as you said, their offense has not been good for 2 years in a row with plenty of reasons. But they have the personnel mainly, but it has not been good, and they've got to figure that out very, very quickly. And this year, again, you're lining up. You're gonna be much more experienced. You're gonna have a quarterback that has 16 starts under his belt, 15 starts under his belt. That's played well, very well at times.
He's played a football game over the course of 4 years as well. So we can look at it through whatever lens you want to look at it, everybody. We got to look at the amount of starts or the fact that he actually played in a football game in 2018, and he's still only a junior going into 2022. How about that?
Yeah, he got 2 more years of this guy. He's going to be 27. He's going to be Winky when he wins the Heisman in 2023. I think the offense is such a huge deal. It's with every team, obviously. That was a dumb thing to say. But Mike Norvell came to Florida State, and I've talked about this before. We both have. He was the second leading scorer in the country at Memphis. They put up 40 points a game routinely. I think they averaged 40 points a game. And so far, in 2 years at Florida State, again, personnel issues, they've been bottom 30 in the country, like in the back, 90th or worse in scoring offense his first 2 years at Florida State. That ain't getting it done, man. That's not getting it done. So figure it out one way or the other. And if it means he needs to be calling plays and needs to be more active in actual every play I'm calling, do it. But you got to figure it out. So hopefully they can, they got 8 months, right, till Duquesne to figure out what they got to figure out to get this offense back again.
Maybe Chris Thompson, deputy head coach, maybe he has some involvement in that. This is from the
Maybe
Daily.
Each coach takes a series.
Yeah. This is from the Daily Memphin back in 2018 from Dillingham. I just communicate what we're seeing. Usually we're on the same page. It's just my job to be his eyes in the sky, which has been my role on game day for 3 years now. Ryan Silverfield, who's the head coach over there now, says the head coach is 100% responsible for our play calling. We just try to tell him what we see and what we think. So your offensive line coach is able to do that from, he can tell you what he's seeing from his offensive line down on the field level.
Absolutely.
So, and then it's going to be, I guess, maybe a little bit on Tokar's to fill in Kenny's sort of role. But, man, Tokar's been with him for a long time. So,
yeah.
Sure, he's got a good feeling for it. Same thing with Chris Thompson. Maybe Chris Thompson's the guy that goes up, and they put a GA or somebody on the field to talk to the tight ends. Maybe we'll find out.
I think Tokar's has to be up there. I can't imagine Atkins is going to be up there. You can't have an O-line coach in the box. So Tokar's will definitely be up there. And what should give you encouragement is that, Norvell didn't do this just on a whim. Like, he knows how important this year is to him. So obviously they heard enough good things from Tokar's up in the box or throughout the week or during games this past year. And I'm sure Dillingham vouched for him. And Norvell's worked with him, has worked with him plenty. So he knows he has to be able to trust that Tokar's knows what he's seeing from the box and is relaying correct and insightful information in real time. He has to know that he can be able to do that, because I think that will be one of his jobs. And it's not his overall job like it's Norvell, but he can ask, Tony, what are you seeing up there? What are you seeing on second and long or first down? What are they doing? Where are we losing battles? Whatever you're going to ask a coach in the course of a game, he obviously trusts that he's going to get the right answers from this guy, because that's why he promoted him.
I do wonder, though. Usually quarterback coaches on the field to talk to the quarterback.
Well, Dillingham wasn't, though.
That's a good point.
That's what those phones are for, buddy. I've always wondered, too. So they still have the phones like it's 1986
yeah,
on the sidelines. Can we not FaceTime?
Oh, no, it's terrible.
You can't FaceTime you get your AirPods in and you just FaceTime the OC on your iPod? Sorry, your iPad?
No, you don't want to see the fear, the look of fear in the OC's eyes. He's like, we can't block these guys.
Right.
Just keep running. Run for
just
your life, Jordan.
It's just crazy that there are no phones that even look like that anymore. I didn't even know they made phones like that anymore. Like, you would think it'd be either a walkie-talkie or a cell phone, or they'd be texting each other or FaceTiming.
It's reliable. It's hardwired infrastructure that it works.
You're right.
It wasn't broke. It wasn't broke. We fixed it.
Wireless at Doak can be a little spotty. That's a good call, Aslan. Maybe that's what they're thinking.
Just a little bit. All right, that is a wrap for us. We'll maybe be back later this week. Maybe we'll do a Renegade Express thread, see what you folks think about.
I did want to ask you real quick before we go. I know we're trying to get out of here, but
I'm not rushing to get out of here.
But you did bring up the bowl. You did bring up the bowl situation, and it's never going back. Like, bowls just aren't. That's why I'm so excited about the potential and the eventuality of a 12-team playoff. Is that's 3 times as many teams that actually are going to care about their postseason game, which means all these guys won't be skipping bowl games. They probably won't be anyway. That's 3 times as many really good players that aren't going to be just sitting out a bowl game. Because watching this stuff, man, it's like, it's great for UCF that they won that game, and I'm not one of these guys that says, oh, they lost because they didn't care. But Florida didn't care, and they didn't even have a head coach. They didn't have a coaching staff at all, really. And it's great that UCF won that game, but you watch these games and the games that are even being played, and it's like it's just being illuminated more than it has ever been how truly pointless these bowl games are, other than to make money for the institutions. Like, it's crazy that back in 1990, Lawrence Dawsey was playing in the Blockbuster Bowl. You know what I mean? But it was a different era back then. But, or Marvin Jones, or guys like that would play in, like Marvin Jones played in the 91 Cotton Bowl when they did it. They beat Texas A&M 10-2, and nobody cared about that game. Florida State was reeling because it had lost 2 in a row, but that's just what you did back then. That's never going to come back. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's a bummer for us that have grown up with the sport and bowls mattering. But the way this is all gone, bowls have never mattered less than they do right now. And it's just, I know maybe COVID impacts it some too, because usually bowls aren't getting canceled. But even if they weren't, man, it really matters on who even isn't even available to play in these games.
That's fair. I don't know. Anytime I played any sport, I don't want to get it sounds cheesy, but I wanted to win. Like, I never competed just half-heartedly. Man, like, you're still on national television. You play for University of Florida, you play for UCF, you play for whoever, man. Like, you're lined up against another guy. This is a very physical, violent game.
Yeah.
I don't really think you're going out there like, oh, whatever, man. I'm just here to just,
No, I don't think in the moment, like I've talked about before, I don't think in the moment you go out there and be like, oh, if you want to pancake me to the ground, that's fine.
But
I mean, I know my family's here watching.
You're not grinding at practice per usual, you're thinking?
Correct, because but more to the point is if you're a Power 5 team and you're playing in a bowl and you have a decent team, if it's not a playoff game, there's a good chance 6 of your guys are sitting out. That's what I mean. Not so much the guys that aren't there. The guys that are there aren't playing hard. It's the guys you do have aren't the guys that got you to the bowl aren't playing in the bowl.
Right.
It's almost like you have to look at you. You almost have to. I don't know. I don't know what you do because bowls don't want to go away. They still want to matter, but they get less and less meaningful every year.
There's two things I want to talk about on that. Maybe I'll pick one. I think they're going to have to eliminate conference tie-ins and just take whatever it is, 60 teams, and just try to make the most appealing matchups and make it like some sort of tier system, rotate it. So maybe if you're the Holiday Bowl, Citrus Bowl, always get like that good second tier kind of bowl matchup. Maybe you don't get it every year. Maybe it's once every 4 years. And then the GoDaddy Bowl gets a good matchup of Auburn taking on Miami or something like that. Maybe that, if anything, to try to save the bowl season, I think they have to kind of eliminate. All right, this is other than the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. You can make that Pac-12, Big Ten till the end of time. But there's got to be some sort of storylines out there sometimes that make certain bowl games more appealing than the others. So if you're not in the playoff, then let's just try to make the most entertaining matchup. Make it like a fight. Like UFC boxing stuff. If it's not like a championship bout, try to make it the two guys that talk the most junk to each other because they're going to sell tickets. They're going to make it intriguing. That's why I think the Florida UCF, that was a good matchup. I mean, on paper it wasn't a very entertaining game, but then again, I'm not fans of either of those programs. If you're a UCF fan, you probably thought it was beautiful. So go figure. But yeah, I don't think they're going to go away. There's too many people that have made too much money for too long to let it go away quietly. But they obviously are going to have to look at it and tweak it. And I'm all for it, man. I like bowl season, man. I want to play in as many games as possible. Even if I wasn't going to go out to El Paso 2 years ago, I would have watched that game intently, just like I watched the Independence Bowl intently. It's my favorite team playing my favorite sport. I'm not there. I'm not going to go to all of them, but I'll watch all of them.
What about if you started the season with them?
As in, so UCF and Florida would have opened the 2022 season instead of closing
instead
out
of calling it the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic or whatever, or the Gasparilla, you just call it the Gasparilla Bowl, but it's in August instead of in December. And then Florida's last game, unless they're playing for a playoff spot, is against Florida State. That way it guarantees that from start to finish, your most important players will be playing in the games. I don't know, man. It's gotten to the point, and again, I'm probably more impacted by the fact that all these bowl games are getting canceled, and what COVID's just ravaging the sports world right now. That maybe that's on my mind more, but it's like, man, Miami's playing who's Miami playing in the Sun Bowl?
The Washington State, maybe? Washington State, the Cougs.
Is that game going to be played? Does it matter if it is?
I thought Miami's whole team was under protocol, literally.
Yeah, but they're still NC State plays UCLA or somebody's is that game going to be played? Who's going to be there for each team? I don't know, man. The bowls have been.
And how did everybody make it through this season? How many? There's one game literally I think got canceled, like Southern Cal and Cal. No other game got canceled because of COVID. Now all of a sudden they're getting canceled. I don't get it.
It's a good question, man. I don't know.
Let's not explore that.
I will say this. Again, just pointing out I don't know if I don't think hypocrisy is the right word, but half the Hawks team couldn't play. Trae Young couldn't play on Christmas Day because it's too dangerous for him since he's tested positive to go play a basketball game with other people. Fine, sure. Still 18,000 people jammed into Madison Square Garden. None of them have been tested. How's that making us healthier?
All right, we're getting off the.
Sorry,
that was my bad.
But my point being that I don't know the answer to that. But obviously, we're going to change. The protocols will be changed forever after this season. But going back to the bowl games, it's like, man, you just got to make them matter somehow. You got to make. And I don't know what to do for like when Florida State gets back to a bowl and they're going to play Kentucky in the Nashville Bowl again. Well, all the guys that got you there probably aren't going to play. And you know what, Aslan? To tie it all together, unless they have an NIL deal that makes them have to play.
Oh,
how about that?
Hey, I'm all for it.
What if every bowl paid the players to come? They get like an appearance fee. That's what the bowls have to do now. Quit paying the dudes in the stupid jackets to go watch football games all year. The Gator Bowl committee, quit paying any of those guys. I assume some of them make some money. Most of it's volunteer. But any of that stuff that you pay usually for the Gator Bowl committee to host your lavish parties, give it to the players so they'll actually show up and make the game watchable. How about that, Aslan? I just figured it all out.
I know, but how much are you going to have to give them?
A lot. Don't worry about it. A lot. Let's make it worth it. TV, the TV ratings, I'm sure, the networks are going to want the real good players to play in these games. Like Kenny Pickett's not playing in Pitt's game.
Correct.
I mean, come on, man.
And
He's
Narduzzi
the only reason
cool
they're there.
Yeah, Narduzzi tweeted like, it's all, I love you, man. Hail the Pitt.
But he finished third in the Heisman voting?
Something like that.
And he's not going to finish. He's the best Pitt quarterback in 30 years, and he's not going to play in his last game. He's the only reason they're there. So when Pitt loses that game, what do you take from that? Anything? Nothing. I mean, it kind of perverts the sport in a way.
Such a downer.
I know. I'm an old man screaming at you to get off my lawn. Probably should have ended it when you wanted to 12 minutes ago. Thinking about the bowl games. More like watching the Browns keep losing with half their team in COVID. Because I have a girlfriend that's a big Browns fan. That's the only reason I care. It's like, yeah, just these last few games, these last 2 weeks in the NFL is what bowl season has become. You just hope you have guys available to play.
I was trying to Google it. A common law marriage is a legally recognized marriage between two people who have not purchased a marriage license or had their marriage solemnized by ceremony. Not all. I was wondering, like, are you guys technically, can you pull the whole common law wife? But you guys don't live together, so she still is your girlfriend, although the fact that you're not in high school and you call her your girlfriend.
I know, but I can't call her my partner because it sounds like we're business partners.
Right.
And but is there a limit? Like, what's the time limit you have to live with someone before you're common law?
I was trying to find out. How many years?
7?
Seven,
is it?
according to NPR. Well, actually, no, it's not. No, you're not in a common law marriage after 7 years is the headline. Yeah.
Oh.
I guess there isn't one. Maybe it's just a complete farce in of itself.
It's like a citizen's arrest. It's just stuff you hear about but never actually happens.
Anyhow, protect your assets, boys and girls. Protect your assets.
Oh, trust me. When we get real married, she's signing a prenup, baby. She's signing a prenup.
Well, I don't think she cares about hearing that. She just heard you drop the M word.
Well, see, again there. I didn't want to say if we get married because that implies doubt.
Oh.
So it's a tough when you've been dating someone for over 4 years, it gets tough now to talk about it. So I just went with the win. And if it doesn't happen, what are you going to call me a liar? I tried my best, everyone. Tried my best.
Keep it connected to warchant.com. Michael Langston's out here grinding for you, giving you the top targets in the transfer portal and high school situations, ranks. I hate saying ranks. Who really says that like in real life? But that's really kind of what we do say all the time. And we'll have any content that's Florida State related will be obviously up on warchant.com. We'll try to figure out some other things to keep you folks entertained on our YouTube page as well. Headlines going down this Tuesday. You guys going to take it easy?
We're done. We're done for the year.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's anything newsworthy, we'll bring it to you on warchant.com and Wake Up Warchant, which is fueled by DeLuna Coffee. He's Corey Maslin. Have a great one, everybody. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.